How's it going? It's Tuesday. It's finally Tuesday. It's time for the morning yank.
Oh yeah,
Got you up early again. We
fucking
gonna stick
early,
with
man.
this?
It's like us and the birds. That's it. Us and the birds,
I know this
and
is very early for you.
crackheads getting ready
I'm
to go to
proud of
bed.
you. Crackheads getting ready to go to bed. Sleep is
I,
for the weak. That's what
I wonder how
crackheads
many
say.
people out there right now are like doing it. You
A
know,
lot of them. A
just
lot of
going
them.
at it right now. Morning sex.
A large percentage.
Well, the prison is probably a higher percentage of all of the percentages. They bring in a nice toll.
You think more people are getting laid in prison
Probably this morning. Probably.
this morning? Just this particular morning.
Just this particular because they're like, shit, the morning Yanks on. Let's get laid, boys. Morning sex is the best thing to wake up to unless you're in prison. Surprise morning sex.
Is that the best thing?
Surprise morning sex is the best thing to wake up to unless you're in prison.
Oh, unless you are.
Unless you're in prison.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that's not a very fun part about prison.
Probably not. That's probably not one of the benefits.
Probably a real bummer when you get your cellmate if you find out right away he's a lot stronger than you.
You're
Like,
like,
shit. I hope he's not into raping me.
fuck. Now I'm gonna need to get extra cigarettes.
Yeah, something. I'm gonna have to have some kind of leverage.
You know, king dongs and shit, honey buns. I got some honey buns. He's like, I bet you do, motherfucker.
Yeah, they look honey to me, baby.
They look honey to me. I'm like, I'll never bring those back to my cell again. I'll call them something else. I got a sticky bread. I got some sweet sticky bread.
Sweet sticky bread. I don't think that's good either. Might like that too.
Right, that might fucking trigger something too.
I'm glad to see people found us on Facebook because I messed up and accidentally went live to the Shawn Yankee Show page instead of the Morning Yank.
Oh shit.
Yeah, for a second I was like, why does it say we're live in the studio, but I can't find us on Facebook? That's why. That's okay. So we'll get to new people today, because we've been trying to build a page for this show on Facebook, and that's where we usually go. But right now we're on the main page.
Yeah.
A lot of people here. We're saying hi to everybody, trying to put you up on the screen. Welcome to the Morning Yank, the live show. And so it's Tuesday finally. This comes and goes so quickly. What have you been up to?
Sticking to my drug of choice.
Your drug of choice?
Yes.
Juice?
Marijuana.
I know you like that. Marijuana?
Yeah. Marijuana. 5 jabs to the eye.
I sprinkle cannabis on just about anything I can.
So, let's just get into it. What, have you been told yet by your employer that you're going to have to do the jabberoo?
No. In fact, they were letting all jabbers go around without the face mask on, and now they even have to wear them again.
They do.
Yeah. They kind of got screwed in that regard.
I seen a friend on my friends list. She said, I'm not going to say her name, but she says, well, I got to get it for work and begrudgingly and blah, 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 and the bonus part is at least now I'll be able to take off my mask. And then I had to, and I usually don't do this anymore. I don't comment on people's shit anymore. And I had to comment. I was like, well, the CDC says you still got to wear your mask. And she's like, yeah, whatever. And then today she fucking I took the jab and they're still making me wear the mask. This is bullshit.
They don't like it. They don't. And I have committed to start making stupidity uncomfortable. So I've had to put some friendships in jeopardy, one of which has been ongoing. I thought he already blocked me. I think he did and then unblocked me because for a minute I couldn't find him and then he was back. But I had to end up offending him again on a post on Facebook. And really all I did was point out the obvious, and he's really hurt about it and wants an apology. I just can't with these people anymore. Yeah, it was a post about how science is accepted and your YouTube video that you watch does not dispute it. And I just pointed out that who's deciding what science? And then he's like, which science? No, that's not right. That's not it. That's not how it works at all.
That's the dumbest argument ever, though. By saying that, you're getting this from a a YouTube video, your YouTube video don't mean shit. So you're telling me that you're fucking not you, but you're telling me that your sources that you get, let's say CNN, MSNBC, whoever, you're telling me they don't have a YouTube page? Am I
Yeah.
correct am I correct in assuming that that's what you mean, or does it just mean for the sake of this argument, I'm gonna throw out the dumbest shit I could possibly say, and it'll make sense in my head, and that's all that fucking matters.
Well, and then you could go and find the actual source link and they would still dispute it. They just like
Oh
to
yeah,
nitpick your link. If they show you a YouTube link from CBS or something like you were saying, it's totally legit. Yours
from
is just
YouTube,
garbage.
right?
Yeah.
Their YouTube link is cool, but your YouTube link is
Hmm.
not. And the only reason your link is not cool is because it's a YouTube link.
Yeah. So that was the point of the meme. And all I really said was that it was bullshit logic and it doesn't stand up. And he was offended and said it was the most disrespectful thing I ever said to him because what I said was, you just believe what you're told. That's all I really said. And
But
it's true.
are
And I
you lying?
explained it in longer form why it's true and apologized for his taking of what I said, but not for what I said. It is true. You believe what you're told. You haven't questioned
Exactly.
it, and then you're claiming it's sound science, but you're ignoring all this other science
Yep.
and ignoring the fact that they've done a 180 on their own. So
But the one thing consistent in the science through the whole thing is that the Rona can't get you if you're sitting down. It can only get you when you're standing up.
isn't that only true in restaurants, though?
Restaurants and bars.
Yeah, I think out in society, it's very dangerous and is laser precision unless you're standing 6 feet away from each other. 5 feet 11 inches,
Boom.
instant Rona.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And in Ohio, the Rona only wakes up at 10 p.m.
I
So
saw that.
it
That's
sleeps
interesting.
all day.
Hmm.
It parties. It parties at night and then it sleeps all day.
It has weird behavior in different areas.
It does. It does.
Australia's losing their mind. Did you see they're going door to door now doing the testing?
This is crazy. The things I'm seeing out of Australia, especially through Jason Altborn, it's fucking crazy,
Isn't it?
man. Crazy, and this is real shit.
I'm
Like,
glad he's back.
yeah, oh yeah, that's another source. I mean, we get our news from live feeds. We get our news from the source as it's actually happening. So we need people like him because he's in a different country, and we need to get a perspective on what they see compared to what we see.
Right.
Give
I
me
like
one
it.
sec. I gotta blow my nose. Give me one sec.
Okay. But yeah, he was talking about Jason. He does news out of Australia. I used to do a little show with him, Yankee and the Aussie. Great guy, but it is interesting getting these global perspectives, especially when you factor in that this is a global agenda and that's demonstratable. So I think they try out things in these other places. And Australia, for instance, considers themselves to be like a little America. It's just interesting to me. And to watch the other things happening around the world, especially with the uprisings surrounding all of this. Mark says it's being spread by the moneyed people, and you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's part of an agenda, and they planned out how to best use it. That's all proven.
Oh yeah, and then the people with the jabs are the ones that are the super spreaders now.
Oh yeah,
It's
and
you can
and yeah,
see
they're
it.
angry about it. Like you were talking about Michael Rappaport being offended that now he's being
He's
called a spreader. He's
oh
an
yeah.
idiot. And again, speaking back to the point I was making earlier about that friend, it's not ignorant what I said to you. It's true. I tried to explain it better when I re-explained it, but you're just listening to what you're told and not questioning it, even when they go back on their story.
Oh yeah. Even when they
Mm-hmm.
double back with them.
Yes.
You know.
Always
But
forgiving.
they ignore them when they tell the truth. Like when they tell them that no, actually, you're stupid for taking it, and you're a super spreader. They literally
Mhm.
said that. They said, "I can't believe you would take. Why would you take that?" After they forced everybody to take and offered them $1 million, free lap dances, donuts, fucking. They're like, "Why would you take it? Like you're dumb for taking it. Now you're a super spreader. Why would you do that?" These poor people got duped. They got duped. And now the CDC is throwing them under the bus for taking the jab that they fucking told them to take. That's real shit. That's real shit. That was a real statement that came out from the CDC. that said if you took the jab, you're fucking stupid and that you're a super spreader. Why would you take that jab? And then in the same sentence, you've seen it, Shawn. And then in the same sentence, they said, but we will need you to continue to take your vaccinations.
And
Real
they still
shit.
want everybody to get it. They're still pushing for
That's
younger and younger people to get it, and pregnant women.
Yeah, well, that's like that other one where they said so and so's father died of the coronavirus, but had he not taken the jabberoo, it would have been much worse. Much worse than death?
Oh my goodness. No, it's crazy.
Real shit. Real shit. I wish I was bullshit. That's real shit.
It's hard to joke about anything anymore because satire is almost impossible.
It is, because it's real shit. Like Babylon B. I didn't know they were a documentary fucking forum.
It's weird. You can't tell
You
comedy
can't.
headlines from real headlines anymore.
No,
Everything
ready
is
for some
insane.
I'm ready for some Anton though. We gotta get this shindig started. So
We
for the
do.
people here on the Shawn Yankee show that normally don't see us on the Morning Yank, what we do is we partake in medications while listening to the greatest solo artist ever known to man, Mr. Anton Maiden.
It starts off hot too.
It
Wait till he
is.
sings though. Like that's when it'll grab your soul.
Damn.
It's powerful.
That lyric, that one where he's like, yeah.
The lyrics are deep, but it's the way he delivers them. Such authority.
Oh, he's way better than Iron Maiden.
I can't believe they had the nerve to cover this song. They covered his, right?
I think they covered him.
Yeah, I do too, because if it was the other way around, if I'm Iron Maiden, I'm taking mine down.
After hearing this.
Yes, I'm going to be like, I can't let mine stay up because people will think and associate me with this greatness and wonder why I'm not great. Lolly says that guy you were talking about had diabetes and congestive heart failure too. And they didn't give his age? That's interesting.
Oh, wow. And also it was weird that 4 teachers in Florida died of the Rona. And the news came out as if they were in school already. And they were like, 4 teachers in class, blah, blah, blah. And they totally went with it. And then, of course, yesterday they came out and had to retract it and apologize and say, well, I mean, technically they weren't in school yet.
It's ridiculous.
Fear porn, man.
And these
Fear
people,
porn.
they don't question it. They don't worry about it. They don't care. That they can't even keep their own story straight.
No. Hell no.
And
They
then-
gotta lie, though. They gotta fear porn your ass.
But he didn't even see how his meme in particular is offensive to people like me who do critically think for themselves. You're saying just because you dispute one source of information, that's not even our only source of information, mind you. And like you were saying, it's a pool for everyone. It's not like just conspiracy videos exist on YouTube. CBS, CNN, all these sites, they have
Right.
YouTube as well. And they get their information there too. It's a popular video site. But you can go anywhere to find this information on the internet. They'll dispute all of that, by the way, too, unless they want to show you something from the internet.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
weird. They're mocked for looking. Even when
Well-
you find real information, you're mocked for that
But
because you
they're
went
only-
and looked for it.
Their only defense against your source is to mock your source. But they didn't actually show, they didn't fact check it, and they didn't show you how your source was wrong. They
They
just,
almost never do. They
No,
just
no.
gaslight you and do shit like that
right,
to avoid the conversation.
right. Like make it like 5 guys are standing in a room. The smartest guy's a midget, but you're laughing at him because he's a midget.
What's it called? The genius of the crowd. You know, if the masses believe something, it's accepted as true.
Yeah, our
When you
masses
couple
are
that
pretty
with
dumb.
one of the biggest rules of propaganda, the larger the lie, you just repeat it over and over again, it's easier to believe. Actually, the bigger it is.
So Mark said something about it, vodka and shit for the Rona. When we had
Hmm.
it, we just did the Z pack, man.
Z-Pack.
Yeah, it was turmeric, zinc, vitamin D3, vitamin C, and vitamin B.
All these things they said were dangerous at the beginning. That's the thing I was saying to this particular
Dangerous.
person, that all this science has been disputed a whole 180. Now they're
Yeah.
saying use this stuff. It was dangerous when Orange Man said it.
Yep.
It's just how they want the information used. They manipulate it however they like.
Man, it was definitely easily bearable. It wasn't this big death virus like they claimed it was.
Well,
But
Mark was saying that like cash registers, et cetera, are breeding grounds for this, and but that's always been true of everything. And the virus that he mentions is a common virus that's been around a long time.
yeah. Oh, this is SARS, man. SARS has been around for a very long
Was
time.
also a coronavirus. The flu, common cold, these are all coronaviruses.
I like when people try to link the two when they're like oh, so you're anti-vax. No, I didn't say I was anti-vax. But anyway, so I'll go on. But when they're like, "Oh, so you're anti-vax, but what about polio?" So you're sitting there trying to compare one that's a 99.97% survival rate to another one that was a fucking 23% survival rate.
Right.
They're not even comparable.
At all.
You're just pulling words out of your asshole at that point. And what
And
did they
then
find with the Spanish flu when they actually started bringing in masks? That the masks made it worse. They ended up finding with the Spanish flu, the best thing to do was to take people outside in the
Fauci
sunlight.
said it himself at the beginning.
Yes, he did.
Their own mouthpiece said it, and the way he described it, it makes perfect sense as to why. Like, I know, for one, as someone that's forced to wear one, and I work in food service, I'm constantly messing with that mask. So I'm
Oh yeah,
constantly touching my face all the time, and then I'm touching your cup and all that, and the cash register and everything Mark was just talking about.
all the monies.
Hmm. It's not healthy at all, and then I'm rebreathing my waste. These are reasons why they don't use those anymore, and they didn't and stopped when Paul was talking about. They realized it's just making you sicker.
And then we're throwing a shit ton of them in regular garbage bins. Like that's not a breeding ground
I've
for
seen them
bacteria.
everywhere,
Like a garbage
everywhere.
can's not a breeding ground for bacteria.
It's worse than cigarette butts now.
It
Like
is,
in a
dude. They're
parking lot,
everywhere.
they're everywhere. These masks,
Disgusting.
hazardous waste. There's no hazardous waste bins for them now.
Look at what Vicky just said. She said, I'll read it to you. When they stopped using DDT, magically polio decreased big time. Uh, Remember DDT? There's pictures of people spraying that shit in people's faces and shit. There was fucking vans that would drive up and down the street that were spraying it out of a fog and shit. DDT, because for whatever mosquito repellent or whatever. So
Hmm.
they were fucking they were spraying it in pools, public pools, while people were swimming. And there's pictures of the owner walking by just spraying it in people's faces, man. DDT. Not the Jake the Snake Roberts DDT.
But trust the science. At the time, they said that was safe.
They
At one
said
time, they promoted cigarettes as safe.
asbestos. They said asbestos was safe. They were putting it in food. They were literally putting asbestos in everything, in food, in cigarette papers, cardboard, your everything, your insulation, not only your insulation, but the wall itself. They were injecting it into wood. They tried everything they could with asbestos, and they told you it was safe.
There's many examples of them outright lying. That's why the trust the science logic doesn't stand up, and this person's offended by that because none of their beliefs really would stand up to any scrutiny, and they don't like the idea that they don't think.
No, I've been using the steak logic for probably the last 20 years every time.
Steak logic, what's
Yeah,
that?
because one minute red meat's bad for you, and the next minute it's fucking great and nutritious and healthy for you.
I was thinking of eggs, but yeah, they can't make their mind up.
Nope.
And they'll push each one as fact. When they decide it, they'll say, "Oh, we were wrong all along, and this is true." And then 5 years later, we were wrong about that, but this is true.
Whatever fits the agenda. Like pizza, they told you for years that pizza would kill you and give you high cholesterol. Now they say, well, it's actually the opposite because when you cook tomato sauce, it totally changes the chemical compound, and it fucking actually fights off cancers and things like that.
But if you really start looking, you find out it's lobbyists that drive that information, like
It
with
is.
sugar,
Yep.
and the promotion of sugar, and they know the distraction from what it actually does to you.
R.W. Wrigley.
It's all kinds of examples of what we're talking about, and that's why this person found it disturbing when I pointed it out, because they don't like that. They
And
don't like the idea being repeated to them that, yeah, I don't think, do I?
that this has been happening over and over and over and over again, and you just choose not to see it. They don't like you to point out the things they choose not to see that's happening in front of their face constantly, over and over and over again.
We need to do more of it, though. I'm back. I'm sticking with it, because I believe that if it can be destroyed by the truth, it should be. So I was nice, I was friendly, but I'm not backing down. And like I said, I apologized for his taking of what I said, but not for what I said.
Right, right. Maybe the in translation, but
Yeah, I that's how I said it too. I said I understand, because you're looking at it from a perspective where you feel empowered and you feel like this is right, and that's where you get your beliefs. You don't even You're taking offense at what I'm saying because you're not even looking at it from my perspective at all. So we're looking at it from two different ways. So I apologize for how you took it,
yeah, taking offense before you
but what I
even get a
said is
chance.
factually accurate.
Well, a lot of them are already taking offense before you even get a chance to. As soon as they see the three dots going like this, you know, they once they see the three dots waving, they already hate you, Sean.
Yeah,
They
you're not listening.
no, they already took offense to what you were about to say before you even fucking said it.
But the fact that he blocked me then unblocked me shows that he at least wants to stick around. He likes that we're friends, but he doesn't like me pointing this stuff out. I feel bad because I like the guy too, but I want to help him think,
Never
or stop him from keeping others from doing it.
can't. Yeah, I mean, let him walk away. Don't walk away
Yeah,
from him.
right. And I scroll by a lot of it. I do. Eh, I don't comment on all of it. I didn't even realize this was his post when I first commented, but I stand behind what I said. I got to point this stuff out now. That's what I think we got to do. It's stupidity that run rampant, and look how much they've done with it. Like, I doubt these kids are happy on a normal school day, but look at them. Every one of them, arms crossed, pressed look in their eyes. This is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, they look
Masked
like
up.
fucking prisoners, man.
Hmm.
And look how they all have to have their. I bet you that's a rule. They all have to have their hands crossed.
You think
Yeah, I think
they're
so.
told to walk like that?
So they can't touch anything and spread the cuckoo cuckoo.
Then they have like social distancing. Their desks separated, and then they can't sit together at lunch.
Oh, and if anybody thinks this shit in Afghanistan is by accident, this is all by design. Those same five generals that you seen on TV at the fucking Kuwaiti palace, those are the same five generals that Obama pardoned from Guantanamo Bay.
Oh,
So if
really?
yes, so if you think this is all by accident, it's not. The Taliban have been given weapons and money from the Obamas and the Clintons, and you're talking fucking trillions of dollars, through Heed Martin, and they don't hide any of it. They show you what they're doing. Why do you think CNN was like, they're screaming death to America, but they're pretty peaceful and giving high fives?
Yeah.
They did.
Well, they're
That was an
bullshit
actual.
artists.
Oh yeah, yep. Because the Taliban is their regime. That's their takeover. This is not by accident. They've been trying to build this for quite some time.
Well, we left them so much too. Did you see all that?
Oh yeah, Humvees and shit, and
Black
drones
Hawk
and tanks and
helicopters. They
shit.
have more Black Hawk helicopters than some statistic I heard yesterday than 150 other countries.
Yep. Oh yeah,
We
but
just
we
left it for them. And AR-15s, all kinds of nice rifles. Probably left the clips and
Originally,
the guns and the keys in the cars. Like, why the hell did we do that?
originally they were called the Afghan Freedom Fighters. Then they were Al Qaeda. Then they were the
Hmm.
Taliban.
Well, we formed them. You could trace it all the way back. We
Yes.
formed them, put them together, armed them. Now we
Yes.
just armed them again.
Yes. Yep.
Helped them, encouraged them, helped them recruit for the last 20 years, and then left them with a shit ton of weapons, flew off on planes.
Yep.
It was awesome. So they could come right back, I guess, right? Except now they'll be able to spread their agenda finally to Iran, I think, which is where this is heading.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there is no coming back. I mean, what basically, as soon as while Obama was in office, and then as soon as Joe stepped in, Joe just picked up where Obama left off. They've been brushing that seed off for those guys for quite some time now, and now it was time for them to take their ownership, just like they did here. I mean, you've seen our election, right? Well, there you can't do that shit where everybody's fucking crazy and everybody carries an M16. So you fucking instead of fucking with their elections, you just do a total fucking. You have to do a total fucking, takeover. That's the only way you can do it, and that's what they did, and they did it through the U.S. and China and Russia speaking up too. China and Russia's like, if you think this is an accident, you're fooling yourself. This is all by design.
Completely. So I was watching people talk about foreign policy things and saying that this empowers Russia in this way, and China's saying this about it, and Iran will be benefited by this, this, and this. And I'm like, that's exactly what the fuck they want, though. By design, it's what they're trying to do. You can trace that all the way back to the PNEC document. Like in the news last night, I was playing 9/11 footage because that's where we started with their agenda and what they wanted to do. And then you can look up Wesley Clark talking about the documents he saw at the Pentagon with the express of wanting to do this agenda that ended with Iran. We've went to war with
Yes.
every other country on that list. The only one left is Iran.
Yeah, and Haiti was one of them. Why would you go to war with Haiti? But have you seen what's been happening in Haiti? They've had they've had fucking a hurricane blew through, and then earthquake, 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 and then fucking tsunami, tsunami, earthquake again, tsunami again.
Wow. Really? Damn.
Yes. Yes. This has been happening in Haiti for the last 7 days.
You know, they have the ability to create and drive
They
storms.
do. They
Yeah, they
really
do.
do.
I know
They
they do.
they really do.
They outright tell you they do.
Oh yeah. Look it up. Look up direct energy weapon, DEW, and it tells you right there that they've been doing it for a long time. Actually, it goes back to Rome. Um Heracles, not Hercules, but Heracles created the fucking death beam. It was the first DEW ever used, and the Romans used it. And they took mirrors and pointed it off the sun, off another big ass mirror from a lighthouse onto a ship, and it fucking would catch ships on fire.
You know, and Tesla had an earthquake machine.
Yeah, he had the death magnet. That thing
That
would
too.
that would suck everything fucking into a ball and turn it into lava. What does that sound like?
It sounds like something they've used. For one,
Lava.
they've used a lot of his stuff, but yeah, he had a machine that could create earthquakes.
Yeah. Yeah, he went.
Demonstrated it even.
The police came and
This is
fucking
back
took
in
him
his
downtown.
time, so no one can tell me they can't do these things.
Mm-mm.
I'm not saying things don't naturally occur, but they can steer and guide things. If Haiti's been hit like that, that's interesting.
It is. It's sad to watch. It's very sad to watch. They're pulling people out of buildings. They're counting 1,600 on average dead per day.
Are you paying any attention to like CNN and how nuts they're going right now with this Afghanistan stuff?
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, this was all the virus and the juice, 100%. Now it is all Afghanistan. Why do you think that is? This is their front page
Because
where
it's
they should
Trump's
share all
fault.
their stories on a 24/7 news cycle. There should be other shit here. It's all. This is the front scroll. You know, that's how they consider things in websites. When you got to scroll, that's other shit. So right here, everything is Afghanistan.
Because it's all Trump's fault. They've already started the narrative. They've already came out. Every news organization has already came out and said that this is because of prior regimes, that this was already set in place. Joe Biden came out in his little fucking 5-minute presser and said this was Trump's fault. Have a good night. Walked away. They're already started it. So what they're going to do is they're going to blast you, blast you, blast you, and then they're going to say this is Trump's fault.
Why isn't it George W. Bush's fault?
They because he's one of them. No,
Hey,
we're talking about the
how about
exit plan.
Obama? We're talking about a 20-year thing that's been going on. It can't all be Trump's fault.
But what Joe's saying is that Trump's exit plan that was already put in place, that they're just going by what was already there. But the Pompeo is saying, no, this was not what we left you guys. This was not the exit plan we left you guys. They were supposed to literally replace soldiers. Like, let's say me and you are in the army and we're over there in Afghanistan, right? And we've been there for like whatever, a couple years, whatever. We would have a guy come in and we would train our guy. And then when we felt our guy was fully trained, I can now go home. He becomes me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what they were supposed to do, not what Joe did.
I'm saying, though, it's been going on for decades.
It has been. You're talking oil, heroin, fucking all kinds of resources that comes out of Afghanistan.
Rape their resources, the drug trade,
all of it.
Mm-hmm. That's what it was about, and that's why they're leaving it in shambles so that they can go right back in. And I feel like the empowering of the Taliban by arming them in this massive way, by leaving all this equipment behind, and how that will A, B, and C towards Iran is what they want.
They're just back to normal. I mean, Bush, Obama, Clinton, they had these people. They were already in place for all these years, and then when Trump took office, it was like, okay, they went into a cave and hid. You didn't hear about them. And then now all of a sudden, now that their bosses are back in power, now they're showing their face again, and they're right back where they were before. Nothing changes. And if people don't see that, then they're just not paying attention, or not paying attention. But it's hard to pay attention to shit when they don't show it to you, though. Too at the same time, and a lot
we
of
have no real media in the United States.
We have none, and so we only get that 15-minute clip. We get those 15-second clips for like an hour, and then that's it. Because when you're working full time and shit like that, you really ain't got time to do research and shit. You only get what they show you.
I think that's why so much of their bullshit fell apart during this whole pandemic.
Because nobody
people having extra time to look at stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that definitely blew up in their face. But at the same time, it was a fucking case study. So now they know what percentage will go along with it and won't even think twice. They'll just go along with any bullshit they tell them.
Right. No, that's proven demonstrably. It's amazing to me, really.
I got a Facebook warning for an anti-Trump fucking meme.
What?
From
really?
From like 2013.
Oh, they're starting to protect Trump now.
What was that?
I feel like they're keeping him in the news to run him as controlled opposition in 2024.
He's a huge fucking moneymaker for the Democratic Party.
Raises money for both parties simultaneously.
Yes. Huge.
That's kind of, you can't dispute that. That's true.
No, it's us against.
Raises money like no other.
Right. That's the mentality of the modern day voter, is it's us against the boogeyman. So let's vote with our money, and you've seen what happened with Bernie, man. That he made the Democratic Party some $35-40 million, and they still went bankrupt. And they still went bankrupt. Where the fuck is that money going?
He was good, but Trump is better.
Yeah. Selling snake oil?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trump's good. He's really good. And he's currently selling snake oil. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, Operation fucking
Warp Speed.
Yeah. That's why I like sitting in the middle. I like to sit back and watch it as entertainment. You really get to see what's going on if you have no vested interest whatsoever.
Shawn says in England, there's no news of the virus at all today either.
Hmm.
Do they think we can only handle one topic at a time? Is that what it is? Or they can only
Yeah.
focus and sell one topic at a time?
Well, it's the virus is no longer dangerous now that the cabal has taken over Afghanistan.
But it's going to be back to being dangerous. It hasn't left the news cycle. It'll be right back, won't it?
Yeah, when they need it for a distraction, they put that back in their pocket, and then when they need it later, they'll pull it
That's what
out.
I'm asking, though. Do you think they think that the masses can't handle two distractions at the same time?
I think so. I think so. Just like they said we couldn't handle if we knew aliens existed, but you can even ask a child that's just barely talking if they believe in aliens, and they're going to tell you yes. So they're I don't even try to understand their way of knowledge or thinking. My head will just explode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't understand half the
I'm a
reasoning.
curious soul, though. I wonder about things. I don't always need an answer. I just like to kick it around. Mark says we need a common enemy and another war. I hope people don't fall for this shit either, man. They will, though. They always do.
Yep.
Because, like I was saying, they believe what they're told to believe.
Well, they've learned in over time, right, Sean, that if they create the virus, they own the cure, right? So that's why they've had money on both sides of every war, all the way back to Napoleon.
Well, they always fund both sides.
Both sides, even World War II. Look, they were driving American Humvees on American fucking railroad tracks made from American steel, using American gasoline with the only additive to keep it from freezing. And I'm talking about the Germans. I bet they
It's
did.
insane.
I bet they did, Dana. They had their fucking chicken pox party.
You know, Biden did that too, the comment option. And then YouTube, it's proven they doctor his likes and dislikes because he's one of the most disliked videos. The videos from the Biden administration on YouTube, they had to stop his dislikes and they'll
He had
reverse his statistics.
he had on yesterday's video. You're talking, the Afghan thing and blah blah blah. Man, this is his biggest moment. He had 320 live views. He had what was it, like 500 thumbs up, and it was over 1,000 thumbs down.
Yeah, they still can't stop it, but it's worse than they're even showing you. There's a lot of videos proving side by side of the likes being changed in real time even.
Oh yeah, yeah. Remember the votes being changed in real time? Remember that shit?
Well, they're doing audits right now. That's the lid's going to be blown off of all of that.
Oh
Trust the
yeah.
plan, Paul.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because they're gonna let us know about it. They're gonna totally let us know
It
about
will
it.
string you along though.
Oh yeah. You gotta
That's what
have
bothers me about it is they get a lot of good intentioned people in that way.
you gotta have entertainment for both sides. You gotta keep everybody entertained. Bread and circuses, just different forms of it.
Hmm.
Keep everybody involved. What's today's date? And is Biden still the president?
I don't know. I haven't checked yet.
It
Day to
was
day, that is a changing percentage.
wasn't it supposed to be the middle of August?
What are the Vegas odds on it? Does anybody know? Jason would know.
It's August 17th today.
Yep. It's supposed to happen in August, right?
Yeah, that before the end of August. Um,
I wonder what the next date will be.
China.
It's a moving goalpost, too.
China.
China has a lot of influence.
I'm a big fan. I use Wish. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
You do quite well on Wish.
Do okay.
You do better than I do. I've never gotten what I wanted from there.
I usually take a day or two before I buy my product. I'll go through all the reviews, all that shit, see who's the top seller, everything.
You're very patient.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't want to pull the trigger right away.
See, I have other shit to do. So I get on there and I want something and I just click it. I read a couple reviews, but then I didn't spend the whole day.
No, you just throw it in your favorites and then go back to it later. You see something you like, hit the little heart, and then it saves it to your favorites, and then you just go back later and go through them and shit. And then as you're clicking them too, on the main, it'll show like your product that you're looking at, and then right next to the product, it'll say related. If you click related, it'll show other people who are selling that same exact product, and you can get it cheaper from a better seller.
Lee says that China's offering the Taliban a loan to build the infrastructure for Afghanistan right now.
Right, right. China Joe, right? Beijing
Hmm.
Joe, isn't that what they call him?
Who our
Beijing Biden.
president is very linked to, our media, and they won't speak negatively about them. Hollywood won't speak
Hunter.
negatively about them. Hunter's very tied to them. But how much has the Biden family personally made? Millions of dollars. I think
Hmm.
Hunter alone is traced back to 5 million
How,
last I checked
how,
from
how,
China.
how much is in their name? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure
Mm.
they got, Harry Dwingledorf in a fucking Swedish account somewhere with $1 billion in it.
But
That's
they
what
won't
I
even
believe.
talk bad about them in our movies. We'll change movies for them.
Well, that's what I always talked about with Epstein. Epstein was, we're gonna siphon billions of dollars through your name, and you're gonna fucking like it, or we're gonna kill you and your family, and choose somebody else to do it.
Yeah,
I felt
yeah.
sorry for
Front
him,
man
believe
and
it or not.
faces for their agendas, like Gates with
The guy
like the
was a real
Jewish
piece of
agenda,
shit,
and
but he was thrown into that environment to be a real piece of shit. You know what I'm
who
saying?
Epstein.
Yes. Yep. There's a lot of shit about him prior to, the club. And
Don't you think what they do is they find psychopaths and then groom them?
yeah, I do.
You have to initially be capable of that shit in order to be pulled into it. Because there's some people that they get to a certain level and they show them something and then they have to turn away, like with Isaac Cappy or different like people that have spoken out about the Illuminati after they reached a certain point.
Well,
Things
yeah.
like this, they see something and they can't go
You're
along with it anymore.
yeah, yep.
So they
The
groom
Chris
you. They find out what you're capable of, and the ones that are capable of the monstrous stuff, they put in these high positions.
Well, yeah, but what they'll do is they'll send you to Epstein's island, and then they'll have you do this unspeakable shit, get you on camera, and now they own you. That's what Epstein Island was all about. It was all about getting dirt on up and coming club members.
Hmm. The honeypot, and then they get you to do something and videotape it or however they get it.
Yeah, they got Patrick Ewing on the Epstein's plane for the same shit back in like the 80s and shit because all of a sudden he was going against the agenda. And then next thing you know, uh oh, he's on sex planes and shit and associated with prostitution and shit like that. But they didn't say nothing about who owned the plane and none of that shit. It was just Patrick Ewing's a scumbag.
Well, how many times did the
Ruined
United
him.
States president fly on that plane with Secret Service? And how many times did he ditch the Secret Service to fly on that plane?
Right. And when they went to Haiti and they were fucking grooming people, that's that went through my mind when I was watching the all the shit that was going on in Haiti the last week was, what kind of fucking psychopaths would go to a country like that and fucking groom children for fucking Hollywood stars and shit? Because that's what it is. Those are your hot dog parties and shit that you see in WikiLeaks and shit. Is they're talking about is the ones that they were over there fucking, like a scout, like a baseball scout and shit. And that's what they do. That's real life shit. That's why I got into being a truther was for the children. It was when I started finding out they take the brunt of all the shit. When you go to Montauk, they took the brunt of all the shit. When you look at Monsters Inc., with that shit, it's the same shit. They take the brunt of all the shit, always,
And Monsters
constantly.
Inc. is about the production of adrenochrome.
It is, and
Mhm.
they found out about that through Montauk. They talk about that. They called them the Montauk kids or some shit like that. And they would these kids around New York would just come up missing constantly, and they were always fucking white, blonde hair, red hair.
And that's the thing I always tell people when they talk about how they're not capable of these things. They're capable of plenty of things. Let's just look at what we know and think about what you don't know.
Well, they
All that
admitted
stuff
all
that
that.
was released, most of it's heavily redacted.
But yeah, but they admitted all that. They admitted to the Montauk
I know,
kids
but
and
I'm
the
saying they
experiments and all
admitted
that
to
shit.
a lot of it, but not everything.
And then they'll be like, "Well, our bad. We'll never do it again." And they always do that. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody acts like it never happened. Like just because you apologize doesn't it makes it to where it never happened.
They
People are closed
privatize and
minded.
rebrand it. They don't ever stop doing it. They just corporatize it.
Yes. Yep. Now they got individual companies that are taking over these experiments and doing them under a different company name, and they're getting tax breaks and all kinds of shit. They're probably getting fucking huge money.
Like Elon Musk seems to be their poster boy for the transhumanism agenda and the merging with AI, with his Neuralink, etc.
Well, what was it? 3.5 trillion was missing on September 10th.
Well, that's up over 20 trillion now. If
Missing.
you've been following that,
Right.
they
That's what's
can't
paying,
account for.
and
Yeah,
that's what's paying for these side projects.
it's maddening, really, when you think about it. I
I
like
got
that mug. That's
I
a
got
sweet
sweet
mug.
mug and a cigarette because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I am too. I should stop. I know you were trying the vaping. I guess that didn't pay out. Did it work out for Dana?
It does. She's yeah, she's down to like fuck like 3 cigarettes a day. Sometimes she'll go a whole day without a cigarette. Sometimes she'll fall off the wagon for a day and smoke cigarettes again, but then the next day she's back on the vape. So it's been working out really good for her.
But you though, have you even cut way back, or did you go
No,
all the way back to
I
cigarettes?
went all the way back to cigarettes. It's addictive, man. This is I could not. I've done a lot of shit in my life, man, and nicotine is the one thing that I just cannot kick.
I can't either.
And it's not
Most
the
I've ever
nicotine. It's the
what?
2,000 chemicals that are in a cigarette. It's not the nicotine because if it was just the nicotine, then the vape would work. It's not the nicotine. It's the 2,000 chemicals that are in a cigarette that I'm addicted to. There's formaldehyde in a cigarette. That's a fact.
Mm, mm. Yeah, go Dana. I need to try it. I think I want to try it, but you're probably right. I probably won't like it. I've never taken to it before.
You might like it. I did it once for like 5 months. I was just on the blue vape. This was in 2013 after I had the Rona the first time, and I fucking it was great. And then my battery died, so I got a cigarette off my cousin, and then after that I was back to cigarettes, man. But for about 5 6 months, I was using the vape and I was happy to use it. It was working out great.
When I made it 6 months, that's how I fell off too. You start bumming, and then you don't want to be a bum, so you buy a pack, and then that leads to smoking the whole damn thing. And
There you
after a
go.
while, they start tasting good again, and now you're hooked again. They're very
Yep.
addictive.
They are. They're super addictive. I'm telling you though, it's the 2,000 chemicals that are in it that other than nicotine.
Well, they straight out add certain things just to make them more addictive.
Oh yeah,
I know
guaranteed.
that. That's true.
Yep. They just call them fillers, but they don't tell you what the filler is.
Lolly has been off her cigs for a month now. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Congrats.
She hasn't killed anybody yet.
Not yet.
Not a single person.
I'm surprised the cats haven't died though.
She shared this video of her cats having catnip. It was one of the cat's first experience with it. Those were hilarious. Did you see those?
Yeah, I did.
That cat was losing its shit.
Yeah. Our
Kind of made me
cats
want to get mine some.
Our cats do that constantly. They always beat the shit out of each other.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how they play. They're very aggressive.
Yeah. I think I think we're about to hit a wall, and I think the as Tony Smith would call them, the shitters. I think their day is coming. I really do. I have a really good feeling about it. I haven't even been paying attention to none of this shit, and basically all my knowledge is like just coming to me, like a frequency, and it's like uh, it's starting to already be more peaceful for the ones who know. You know, we've already prepared for this mentally, physically, psychologically.
Right. It's hard though if you have any concern for the others, but I've come to deal with it better, think of it better actually, because I know I can't help a lot of people
I
because
still
they
love
don't
them.
even want to be helped. Like for instance, that to circle back, that person I was talking about at the beginning, great dude. I like the guy. I
I
feel really bad for him.
still love them, just love them from a
Hmm.
distance.
Yeah,
But
he's
I
pushing
still love
dangerous
them.
bullshit. You got to point it out. You can't let him do that comfortably anymore.
This is true. This is
That's all
true.
I'm saying.
Yep. If at least bring factual information
Hmm.
to the argument.
And that's really
Either
all I'm
way,
doing too. I'm not going to put too much effort into it because you don't argue with idiots because they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
yep.
I'm just saying truth and then backing it up. That's it, and walking away.
It's like playing chess
There you
with a
go, man.
pigeon.
Sorry you took it wrong, but what I said is true.
Playing chess with a pigeon.
I don't do it anymore. I can't. I
Yep.
don't have time for it. Like Tony, you were just mentioning, has been dealing with all those like light and love people. He said he's been fighting with them. Stop doing that. You
He
know,
likes it though. Tony,
I know.
Tony loves the
Some people
drama.
like the conflict. It's
But
exciting.
that's why we like Tony though, because we need people to speak up for us. There are, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We do. We need that.
Yeah, I
Everybody
like all
has their.
kinds.
You said it yesterday in your post. Everybody has their job to do, and yeah, everybody's job is different.
Hmm. I feel like so. That's true. We all
Even
have
if
strengths and weaknesses and things we bring to the table, and you don't have to
Yep,
like it. We're all working towards the same thing, even if working in different ways.
even if you don't say nothing, maybe your job is to be a witness because
Yeah,
we need those too.
the forces that oppose us are united. That's why they have strength, even though they're a small number. They have such strength over a larger number because they're united. They do different things. They work in different ways, but they're united in a belief system.
Yeah, yeah, they're easily persuaded by.
But they all have different jobs and roles. You see, they work together
But
though.
eventually, they're not going to trust their media and shit like that anymore. And
I'm not
that's
saying they won't fall apart, but they've achieved their role and status because of this united goal.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Well, yeah. Well, what I'm saying though is too is that those that they're united in their goal. Eventually, you have to get bamboozled, right? Just like we did with the Burnster. So eventually, something's going to happen in their life where they're going to get bamboozled, Sean. And when that happens, there is no turning back. Like they say, once you open your eyes and you start to see things differently, there is no going back. You see things for what they really are now. And eventually it's going to happen to them too. You just have to have something in your life happen to you that it's the final straw type shit. Like Michael Rappaport, perfect example. And that was only 4 days apart. Those two posts. The one post, he's like, "Hey, I'm a hero, man. I just got the jab, and if you don't get the jab, you're a fucking idiot." And then 4 days later, he's like, "What? What are you talking about? CDC and Fauci, and you guys are telling me that not only am I not a hero, but I'm a fucking super spreader." And motherfucker you, and that's what he kept saying. He was mad. That's got to happen. That has to happen. It has to happen. People have to go through with it. They have to be bamboozled before they're going to realize that, oh shit, I'm being lied to. But it has to be big enough that it's going to cover the fact that they've been looking the other way all these years, and they know in their heart they've been looking the other way all these years. But they can say, "Well, I'm just, I thought they were telling the truth. I mean, they're the ones that are on TV."
Hmm. Yeah, and I know, I think about that because I came to it slowly too, and there was a catalyst event. For me, it was 9/11. I was interested in all of these things before, including JFK, but that didn't shake me awake. It was realizing that they did do this, coming to that, and I came to that slowly.
Yep. But it's stuff like that opens your eyes to stuff that you already knew was fucked up, and then you go back and look, and you're like, oh wow, it's even more fucked up, like the Jackie thing.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That in a million years, you never would have thought of that. But then when you watch, because you've been already been told how to look at that video. But if you watch that video with an open mind, like you've never seen it before, your very first instinct at the end of that video is why did she blow his head off? Like, what did he do to her? If you didn't know anything about none of that, if you didn't even know that was the Perez, first time ever you were in a coma since the birth. And it's your first time watching that video. Your first thing you're gonna say is she fucking killed him.
This is my fault because I brought up JFK. Paul's saying his theory about JFK being killed by Jackie, the final shot. And in the video, the Zaberta film is what he was talking about. We were watching it in slow motion. There's a lot to what he's saying. It's interesting, some of the motions she makes and actions that she takes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
another theory that uh, about the driver being involved in stopping the car for that final shot. There's that too. Clearly did look back there though. Could have been two different reasons why he did. You're
Well,
definitely not being told the truth.
no, no. Well, she definitely, like, when you watch it, she puts her arm around him
Hmm.
and
And,
embraces him,
and
and
then the
then
other arm
the
underneath here,
other
and it
arm goes,
jerks.
yeah, and then it goes boom, the whole everything, and then fucking right after that, she climbs off the back of the car, and then she turns around and goes back and takes an object and slides it behind the seat. Now people are saying, oh, that was skull fragment. No, it
Yeah.
wasn't, because if it was, there would have been a blood streak all the way to the back of that fucking. There was nothing.
And her behavior after was interesting too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's
She
a lot to it.
signed. She signed over that willful transition of power agreement, like on the plane, was still covered in JFK's blood. And she was at the time seeing Onassis, a billionaire that she'd been set up by the CIA with. He was an informant for the alphabets.
And they could have got to her by exposing her to everything that they had on JFK.
They MK'd her, plus showed her all the shit that JFK was doing behind her back, and got her woman scorned, all that, plus the MK. She was the last resort. If the other ones couldn't do it, it was her job. And you've seen Governor Conley turns around and looks and sees that JFK is still alive, and then he looks at her, and then he like says something to her, and then he looks forward and he fucking gets out of the way.
Yeah, it was interesting. We watched it, what, about 6 or 7 times in slow motion.
Yeah, yep. Every time you see something different too. And the original witnesses said that the final shot came from inside the car. There was 43 witnesses that said that. All 43 ended up dying before they could even fucking give their statement. There was people that were never even asked for their statement that were literally right there. But that reminds me of, the September 11th too, where there was witnesses that were survivors from the upper floors that they wouldn't even take their fucking stories. Like the police and shit like that, they wouldn't even take down any of their shit.
Yeah, outright admitted multiple things like that from reliable sources such as firemen about multiple explosions, things like that.
Yeah, well, the Pentagon too. There was one sole survivor, this black woman, and she actually walked out of the hole,
Hmm.
and she fucking not a single fucking police agency or any agency took her story, not one. She was the lone survivor of the biggest terroristic attack in U.S. history, and her statement was never taken.
Well, as someone who's debated that particular topic, 9/11, multiple times, no one
How do
wants to
you
hear
debate
anything,
it?
man. That's all it is. I
How do
don't
you
know.
debate that?
I don't really do it anymore. I've been invited up multiple times to come back on a skeptic show, and I'm not interested anymore. It's frustrating because they never know anything key. And even though they'll not be able to dispute those things, like such as Building 7 or anything like that, that really does hold up, they'll just push it aside and be like, that's interesting. Wow, I've never heard of that. Wow, I'll have to look at that. And then they never will.
Or the fact that the Pennsylvania ground already looked like that and was already smoking.
Multiple things, anything like that. Like I made that Three Golden Keys video. So there was the Pennsylvania, the Flight 93. That is a very big smoking gun.
That
The
was huge,
Pentagon,
though. You
and
showed that in your video, man. That was huge. I'd never known that before. That if you went to Google Maps from
there's
like
a picture from
19,
1994,
yeah,
an
that
aerial shot of that area, and that
it's
scars in the
identical.
earth.
Yep,
It's an abandoned strip mine.
it's an abandoned mine, which every once in a while they start smoking too, because they're still full of fucking whatever it was in it, coal, dust, fucking anything, gasoline, whatever.
You know, when I
So
made that video, Babels didn't want me to include the Flight 93 one because that's their hero story. You know, that's their sacred cow and all that. And it holds up because of that, because they want you to believe the hero part. And that's a great story. And it's awful that it's not true. But she didn't want me to put that in there because she's like, people won't like that.
I believe 75 John Does all of a sudden appeared on the new housing registry in the Bahamas on September 12th.
Maybe, but maybe it was worse than that. It does bring into question what did happen to the people on those planes. You know, I'd like to think they're in houses in the Bahamas. I doubt it though. You know, like you start thinking about a lot of that other stuff, it gets real creepy. Like the forced phone calls to their family members.
Right, and that was pre cell phones. But all of a
Well, not
sudden,
only the fact that you couldn't have done it then
these
from the
lucky
air,
motherfuckers had a cell
been
phone, though,
tests
right?
done that show that you couldn't have. Huh?
But this is pre cell phone, but somehow these five lucky motherfuckers
There
had
were
it.
cell phones, and then there was the air phone. But they're saying that these tests have proven that due to the way cell phones work, you couldn't have used them that way
Yeah,
then
because you're
or now.
above,
There was a test, I don't know how long ago it was done, but cell phones skip from tower to tower and you'd
because you're
be
above the
roaming
towers.
so quickly, it'd be impossible. There's other reasons too, and you're too high above them as well. But the air phone, I think, does work. I don't remember the details of all of this, but the phone calls, though, they were obviously forced and seemed staged, like they were being made to make them. And they kept saying things like their own name. Who calls your mom? And over again tells your mom, "Hey, this is Shawn Yankee, Mom. I'm Shawn Yankee." I don't ever speak to my mother that way.
Right. This is your son, Paul Jones.
Yes,
Never have I
shit
ever
like
said that.
that. Mm-mm. No, they didn't seem like natural conversations that you would have.
Yep. Let's roll.
Hmm. It's hard, that one, because they try to put that one in there as the hero element, and you're not supposed to touch it. You know, it's a great story,
Mm-hmm.
but
But not believable.
I often
And
wonder where that one was heading. You know, because they had a 75% success ratio. They hit 3 out of 4 targets. So was the fourth one just always intended to be a hero story, It never was really heading anywhere. It's complete bullshit, or was it heading somewhere and they had a fourth target that they changed their mind, didn't need to do it, or whatever? A lot of people think it was the U.S. Capitol.
Hmm.
I wonder that sometimes if that fourth one was ever really going to go anywhere, or it went exactly where it was supposed to go, or if it was a fourth target that they just decided, okay, we don't need to do it. We pulled off all three so far.
Well, I mean, there's another explanation. There was a blip, radar blip that was like about 100, 150 miles away from where the supposed Pennsylvania crash site was. And the blip just disappeared. So there's people that think that over Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, that it was shot down, and they claimed that that was the crash site in Pennsylvania. But they're never gonna admit to shooting down a passenger plane for any reason whatsoever. So they had to come up with the whole story of let's roll and all that. That was another theory. That thing is in pieces, scattered across Lake Erie.
Right. But I'm saying we know that the entire thing was orchestrated, so they knew where these four instances were going to be, planned the whole thing out. The people on board were under their control, the guiding it. So I wonder sometimes what that one was even for.
Well, Hani
They pulled
Hanjour
off
was,
every other thing they wanted, even Hani.
yeah,
His maneuver impossible.
impossible.
They
They've
pulled off
tried it.
everything they wanted up till then. So why couldn't they pull off the fourth one?
Yeah, they've tried it in simulation over 1,000 times with 1,000 fucking top notch pilots, and they still can't
Hani
do
is
it.
the best though, and I think what
Yeah,
made Hani so good is that he didn't want to learn to land.
because he
He just wanted
cried.
to fly. He's like a leaf on the wind.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
It was an accident.
He would cry when they asked him to land.
He was trying to land. That's what happened.
His flight instructor.
That's his landing maneuver.
In one of the videos I made on 9/11, I played this interview with his flight instructor, and the details of his training, supposed training, were very interesting.
Yeah.
For one, he couldn't even fly a small Cessna, could
No.
not even really control it, would not learn to land. None of
He
them wanted to learn anything.
he cried when they tried to make him learn how to land. He fucking froze up and cried.
Right. And this guy felt responsible, but he's clearly saying in the same interview, this guy couldn't possibly have flown that plane, but he felt responsible for training him to fly that plane. He didn't.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
It
Yeah.
was
I hear you.
bullshit. None of them did. None of them got real training. You listen to any of their flight instructors talk about this training they supposedly got from these flight schools. None of them learned how to fly.
Uh,
They
you
didn't
know,
want to learn. They just needed it to look like they went and learned flight school.
it almost sounds
They
like
attended.
someone was able to turn those planes into drones and then
What, swap
type
them in the
in
sky like Operation Northwoods?
no, 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 just already have it pre-done so that you can take over the controls of the plane.
Mm.
And those coordinates were put in a computer. That's why it did the circle thing and then hit the building, was because I think that was where they fucked up when they typed in the coordinates for the drone, if you will.
That brings up an interesting point that I'm going to try to find an image of. The planes on 9/11, the one you get a good look at, the one that hits Tower 2, has something interesting on the bottom of it attached that is also attached to drone planes.
Oh yeah, that serial number at the
Got the
bottom.
serial number that I'm going to try to show you what I'm talking about if I can get a good image of it. I don't know if I'll be able to find it.
But it has,
There,
from what I've seen, it has no colors or nothing like that. Like commercial jets have colors and all that shit underneath it, especially painted white so that the people underneath can see it. And these ones were like straight gray, almost like military type planes.
well, they were gray and windowless, but that's not big enough to show you, I don't think.
That's what she said.
I love this. Most of the things I'm clicking on are now unavailable. I just want an image of the plane from underneath, is what to show you what I'm talking about. That's big enough to show you on screen. It's getting hard to find. There's an attachment underneath the plane. That is also something that is attached to drone planes. That's on the physically on the plane. Is what I'm trying to get to show you. But they're gray and
Ah,
windowless. That's interesting because commercial planes, especially the two brands they say they were, are brightly colored
yes. Well, yeah,
and have windows.
that's intentional. You know, all that shit's intentional.
Now, I know. I'm trying to get a good picture of the plane. There's so many. That's what's funny about this current situation with trying to find it right now. There was so many images of that strike. Every camera in the world was pointing at it, including amateur cameras.
Well, how come we still don't have any footage of the burning ember that floated over to Building 7 and brought it down like a fucking stack of cards?
No one wants to talk about Building 7. That's one of the things I was talking about, where they'll be like, "Oh, I never heard that," and so many of them don't even know about it. And then they'll be like, "Well, oh," and to everything you say, and then just want to push it aside and they'll never look at it.
It was Wall Street and the governmental housing authorities fucking main headquarters.
There was a ton of stuff in there.
That,
There were
yeah.
buildings for the CIA. There was the Enron scandal was being investigated in that building. All of that was hidden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That
Hmm.
was pretty slick though, the Enron shit. They would fucking come out, bring guys out, side contractors too. They had an empty building that sat in the middle of a fucking neighborhood, and they would send side contractors out to hook up electricity from the fucking main line behind your house to your house, and then would fucking charge you a monthly fee for it, and fucking bypass DTE, and fucking and fucking that's like stealing cable but with electricity. And they did this shit for years. They even had baseball stadiums named after them and shit. Stealing electricity.
Right.
Oh yeah, Enron.
All right. This is the best I can do. And you can't see it, can you? But
Uh.
right here underneath the plane, you can find these on your own. It was
Yeah.
hard, but you can look them up. I had better luck on DuckDuckGo. First, I was trying Google Images, couldn't find it at all. But an image, and you can find many of them underneath the plane. And look, the first time I ever noticed this was on official 9/11 propaganda from CNN, actually, a documentary. And the guy was pointing it out. And I was like, that is interesting. And then I saw it in other things too. And people looked at it more in other images. But in all angles, it's there. You can find this on the bottom. If you look on drone planes, they have something very similar underneath them.
Yes.
But commercial planes do not have anything on the hull in that area.
That's the eye. They call it the eye. It sits on the bottom of the drone, and it helps it to see where it's going and shit like that.
Yeah, but look those up. There's a lot of people. Have you ever heard the no planes theory around 9/11?
Yeah, I have. That it was a hologram like the Battle
Mhm.
of Los Angeles type
You know what
shit.
I think that's caused by? Because I do believe it was drone planes. I think that's caused by the fact that media coverage was manipulated.
Yeah, well, yeah, once you get caught bullshitting and manipulating shit, then all of a sudden the door's wide open for everything.
I'm talking about the actual footage of the plane hitting was manipulated by the
It
media.
it was. Did you notice how the fucking wing
The
disappeared?
nose out and the wing, yeah. The nose out is interesting because the nose comes out the other side
Yeah, that's
of an
impossible.
aluminum plane that can be destroyed by a bird.
Yep, that's
Not only did it
impossible.
cut like butter through the initial impact, it comes out the other side.
Well, they showed an airplane nose that was smashed to bits from hail, and it was just fucking normal hail, and it was the nose was fucking
But when the
shattered.
nose out occurs, the footage immediately cuts and then comes back 3 seconds later to the fireball. and then they never aired that footage again.
Or the fucking, or all the witnesses saying that the explosions that they heard in the basement.
But that's what leads to the no planes theory. But I'm saying it's explained by this. I think what they did is they wanted to make the coverage fancy of that plane hitting, and they also wanted to doctor the fact that it was gray and windowless. So they were inserting an image over top of that plane coming
Of an actual plane.
in the coverage, and their image goes through the tower. They don't cut off their image. So that's why the coverage stops and goes black for 3 seconds, because they're like, fuck, we forgot to pull our image. And they pull their image back out and go back to the fireball. That's where I think the no planes theory comes from, is the media doctoring the footage to make it look like a commercial plane.
And getting caught. And then that makes everybody else start to question everything else.
Yeah.
Once you get caught, then that opens up the door to everything. And everybody starts really looking at every fucking thing, every straw.
But that's the one it was for me. And you're right. It does take an event like that to show you the magnitude and the lengths they'll go in their lies to make you understand how big it is. Because a lot of it seems so big that you don't question it because of that. Because you're like, that can't be a lie.
Right. You're like, there's no way. But it goes all the way back. It goes years and years.
You know, my kindergarten science teacher told me they landed on the moon. That can't be a lie. Why would she lie to me?
But we can't do it again because we taped over those tapes.
What would you say? The 84 World Series, right?
Yeah, no, the 86 World Series.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah, oh yeah. The Bill Buckner between the legs.
And they just can't recreate it. It's too hard.
No, Nope. And now you got now you got the shitters saying, well, why would we? I mean, there's nothing there for us to go back to. You know, what the fuck? I mean,
Or, yeah, but Obama even announced that they're going to try to go.
right. Why does everybody keep announcing they're going to try to go back to the moon, though?
Mm-hmm. I guess because their lie about going there is falling apart.
The Mars thing cracks me up that they're hiring actors. Right in broad daylight. Like, yeah, can you act? Well, do we have a job for you?
It's a dream gig, though.
Act like you're on Mars. And they even said recently that they're in Antarctica. There's a fucking desert in Antarctica that has temperatures at minus 240 degrees. And that's where they'll stage experiments, Mars experiments and shit there. That's their staging ground for the equipment that they use on Mars.
Yeah, they're not on Mars. You seen the footage from that rover, man? It's in HD. I can't get a cell phone signal where I'm sitting on Earth.
All right. What they had dial up on the moon. They had a landline on the moon. That's a long ass fucking.
Nixon called the moon.
That's a long ass cord. I didn't know. I never knew that cord was there the whole time.
I'm surprised that he wasn't holding the phone upside down. You know how most presidents have that mocking photo of them holding the phone upside down?
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't just do that in that photo too. It's so fucking fake. He's
It's
talking
so
to
fake.
Neil Armstrong on the moon on a landline phone.
They should. You know what they should have did was just as fake as it was. They should have had him like pull the cord and then Neil Armstrong go ooh.
Oh man, and those guys happen to sit at that press conference in the aftermath of the first moon mission and sell that lie. They look so defeated doing it.
Oh no! If their eyes
And
rolled
then-
back in their head any further, they'd be in the fourth dimension.
Yeah, it's the worst. You know, I feel like at some point they thought they were really going, and they had to be devastated when it was broken to them.
Oh yeah.
Or do you think
Well,
they
you get-
knew all along?
I think they knew all along. That just like right now, you know, are you an actor?
Well, then, you know, because there was that astronaut in the beginning of the moon mission program. There was another astronaut they were going with, and he was calling bullshit on everything, and they killed him in an experiment.
Oh yeah. In
So,
the landing,
because I think a lot of these people believe this stuff. They don't all know they're living a lie. So you don't think at any point these guys, the ones they ended up choosing, thought they were going anywhere?
No.
They look
No, I
devastated by
think.
something. Maybe it's just the fact that they're going to
I,
have to lie for the rest of their life.
well, no, I think they seen what they did to Steve, and they were like, "Okay, all right, we're on. Nope, we're on board. We're on board." Because
Yeah.
what they did to Steve is they fucking burnt him from the inside out
Hmm.
in an electrical fire inside the landing rover. And it wasn't even in space or landing or nothing like that. Because your mind's eye right now is thinking it's land. No, it was on land. He crawled up into it. They locked the door, and then the thing caught on fire from the inside. And that was the same landing rover that later on Neil Armstrong was able to perfect. He was like, oh, I can work the bugs out of this one. Okay, it had legs and it would hop around and shit.
The entire story's hot garbage.
Oh yeah, it
The
is.
cameraman they left behind on the moon, no one ever speaks about that dude. He was there to film him landing and film them taking off and leaving. They just
Yeah,
left him there.
the cameraman was there first. That's hilarious.
Yeah. You know,
Neil Armstrong's got
his
a
first steps
badass
on the moon
cameraman.
are being filmed from the outside.
Yep.
Who went out there and set up a camera? Who really took the first steps on the moon? Come on, none of it stands up.
None of it. And they didn't even get a fucking Baumgartner or Felix Baumgartner. He didn't even get, a tenth of the way of where they supposedly went, and he fucking passed out for like fucking 5 minutes and shit, just flipping around in the air, passed out. This is it's all bullshit. You know what I'm saying? All bullshit. The
I know my
radiation
son was
levels.
asking me, not the one that lives with me, but the one that lives with his mother. He's now an adult and was asking me questions the other day, and we got to talking about lies. And he asked me how much is a lie. I didn't know where to start, like, because I'm like, how much do you know? Is almost the first question I got to ask, because a lot of this is going to sound crazy.
Yep.
Fucking everything, everything. That's really all I said to him, and it's the only honest answer I could give him without going into much detail.
I
Everything
mean,
is a lie,
space is real, and the Bible talks about space, but to me,
and it's
space is
not what it's
just
said to be.
yeah, exactly. I think it's literally stargates, wormholes. I think it's a super highway for fucking time travelers and for interdimensional beings. That's the fallen, the interdimensional beings, and they even admit to it that they would come in on their fiery chariots and things like that. Well, God doesn't need a vehicle to come to you. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need a fiery chariot, but they do, because they're beings just like us, and they pop in and out through space. That's why everybody thinks, oh, they're coming from another planet. They're not coming from another planet. They're coming from space. That's where they pop in and out. I believe that in space, it's the energy and all that. And because of it being a vacuum, you can suppress energy. You can easily suppress energy, create a vacuum. You can create these wormholes. That's just literally easy to do. But the thing is, getting to space is the hardest part because there you as they've shown, people have tried taking fucking rockets into space and they just hit a fucking wall and sit there and they don't go any further.
I don't think you leave this physical plane.
No.
They've told you they can't. Even Bill Nye the Science Guy has said you can't leave Earth. There's nowhere to go. Those are his exact words.
Right, right. I
But I
believe
think
that.
they've tried. I think they've tried to go up and down. The furthest they've ever went into the Earth, though, is 8 miles.
That they've told us.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Though.
According to Bird, he
But they
was
tell you they know
flying.
everything about it. They've only went down 8 miles.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bird was flying in that shit, and it was just fucking like a whole other world. Had
Admiral
its
Richard
own
Byrd
sun.
that you're talking
Yeah,
about explored both the North and South Pole.
had its own sun, had its own atmosphere, everything.
Described an inner Earth that he went inside of. He said, spoke about that. Led expeditions for the United States government to both the North and South Pole. Large expeditions. And
Huge.
was never discredited for the things that he said.
Mm-mm. No, no, just like Preston Nichols and
But
Duncan
you
Cameron.
know, he was a high level Freemason, though, Richard Byrd.
Was he?
Yes. And you factor in that they never discredited him or slandered him or not speak bad about him. Anything they do to people, that they would normally do to people that were saying the things that he said. Think about the things he said about Antarctica, for instance, and things, and especially about the inner Earth, stuff like that. The North and South Pole, he said interesting things about. But
Yeah.
I think they do that though, is they put people out there to give you certain pieces of it, but not all of it.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
it
his
has to be in
men,
plain
the
sight.
things they said was more interesting really than his own journals. When you look at it, the things his men describe happening.
I was gonna say that, but right
Yeah.
when the beginning of this conversation, I was gonna say that the other witnesses, now the testimony from the other witnesses is really fucking crazy.
Hmm. It's very interesting. But these were large missions. Like Operation High Jump was very large, 4,000 something men,
Yeah, they were supposed to establish a.
battleships.
Yeah, they wanted to establish a base there just of information finders, like scientists and things like that. It
Hmm.
wasn't even for military purposes. It was for fact finding missions, and they were going to have a base there for all their fact finders, and that didn't last very long.
A lot of people feel like though that it was to find the Nazi bases that were there. The
That's
Nazis had a lot
that's
of bases and were doing a lot of research there.
Yes, they did a lot of research and a lot of things though too, like Vimanas and shit like that. The fucking ancient flying devices. They even had Die Glockton, which was the bell, the German bell, which disappeared in 1942 and reappeared in Pennsylvania in 1983.
Hmm. Tesla talked about a similar device too, and they said that the Germans wanted him for that as well and his research.
Mm-hmm. You got me thinking about Tesla though. I mean, like the theory that he never even existed, that he's just an idea for people to another way to get the truth out there without getting the truth out there, without admitting to it.
I want to look deeper into him. Yeah, yeah, that theory that not that he wasn't a real person, just that a lot of things are being attributed to him. Maybe as an Easter egg for us that would look because you're not taught about him in mainstream or in school. You find out about him, so I think it's somewhere that they're like, oh here, look, you found it. Well, did you? Or are they attributing all this to this man to get you to
But
not look other places?
a very interesting thing that is hard to look past though is the Trump inheriting the missing cases,
Hmm.
and then the Baron Trump in the time traveler book.
Right. Then that reminds me too of the fact that they do tend to use the same actors. Like now they're trying to bring George W. back to be their vaccine spokesman or whatever they want him to be.
Yeah.
Like they can't find new actors. The same names show up.
Well, they end up turning out like Michael Rappaport.
Right.
They're like, fuck, I was bamboozled.
Well, good. I hope that he learns from it because
Yep.
he was. You know.
That's all we can do. We can just pray that people figure shit out.
Hmm. Yep. But I am though. I'm gonna keep making it uncomfortable to be stupid and spread stupidity. So to that friend that I probably will end up losing, I'm sorry. Love you and all. But every once in a while when you're bullshit, most of the time I'll scroll by out of being friendly, but sometimes I'm gonna point shit out.
Yeah.
Oh, oh well. This is something that I have on the screen right now that I have no idea how to promote. But we have an affiliate program now with Dr. Squatch, and this link is on my timeline and the page, the Shawn Yankee Show page. Uh, I don't know how to give it to you right here, or I would, but this sale ends tomorrow. You get 25% off orders of $50 or more at Dr. Squatch, and I will get credit because we're an affiliate. I can't hear you, babe, because I have headphones on. I can hear that you're talking, but
I said, can't you copy and paste?
I don't know.
Copy and paste.
I'm not going to worry about it right now. I told him how to find it.
It's on the page,
Hmm.
buddy.
It's on my
Nerd,
timeline right there.
nerd for folklore. What are you even talking about, Lolly?
I don't know. What's she smoking
know,
on? What are you smoking on?
not cigars.
Cigars. That's awesome though that she's made it this long.
She's smoking banana peels.
Longest I ever made it was 6 months.
That was me, 5 or 6 months. That was the longest I ever made it. I fucking hate them, but
I remember
they,
exactly how I fell off the wagon. I was at a bar. They had a cigarette machine.
you're like, I'll just have one or two and throw the rest
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's exactly what I told myself. And then I
Nope.
smoked the whole pack and bought another one. Here we are.
Yep. I wish I could quit.
It's hard. I'm gonna try it though. And I think I'm gonna try the blue one, like you were saying.
The blue works. It really works. And you feel it in your chest. And everything feels like you're hitting a cigarette. It really works. Eventually, I'll go back to it. Right now, I got a lot of stress and shit like that. My anxiety's through the roof. But
What I just did there, for anybody watching in the
code
live, everywhere we're at,
summer25.
see what I'm saying? It don't look like a real link, but if you click that link, that's my personal link. Will give us credit for the click, and then you enter summer 25, you'll get 25% off orders over $50. But see what I'm saying about the link? I don't like
Mhm.
it. I don't like it. And
You're
I've been told that there's a way for me to get like a tiny URL. I don't know what that is. I need to get in
you'll
touch with Mark.
you'll be able
Mark's
to
my
make
tech
up
guy.
your own promotion thing too. Instead of summer 25, like you can make it say Epstein didn't kill himself.
I hope so. This one podcast I watched, they have a promotion going on with a mattress company, and theirs is it's the shit. Their coupon code. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Enter the shit at checkout.
Enter wash yo ass at
Mhm.
checkout.
Mine would be wash your ass.
Wash with an R. Wash your ass.
That's how you spell it anyway.
Wash yo ass.
Wash your ass with Dr. Squatch.
With
But click
Dr.
my link
Squatch.
so you give me credit and you get money off. I got another one that I'm going to put up later for 25 or 20% off all purchases over $20 or something like that. But that's what they gave me is a bunch of links. I just don't like the way they look when I put them in a live stream.
They look like some bullshit.
It looks nice when you post it on Facebook, like the one I showed you. That's from my Facebook timeline.
Yeah.
That's what it shows up like. So you click that because it looks real. It has official pictures from Dr. Squatch, and it doesn't look like that looks like it has a virus attached to it. It doesn't. It's safe.
I can say this.
I just don't like the way it looks.
Their soap is outstanding.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm working my way through the Star Wars collection right now.
Yeah, you like it?
I do. It's great. I started with Darth Maul. I put them in order. We had a extensive process to gauge what order they would be used in, from the best to last, or the best for last, backwards. And I wanted it also to go dark side, light side. So we went Darth Maul. Now I'm on Obi-Wan. And then we're going to go Darth Vader, then Yoda. Yoda's the best.
Oh, yeah, you got them battling each other.
Wisdom Wash Yoda smells amazing.
My favorite so far is that wood barrel bourbon. That is a good fucking soap.
I just had that one, and I had the deodorant as well. They have deodorant, shampoo,
Yes.
toothpaste, all natural. I know what everything in it is when I read the ingredients.
Oh, yeah, I love it. It's good shit.
And you know, the base of it, the soap anyway, is clay.
Is it?
Babel's Forever, yeah, it is. It's some kind of clay. I don't know. But Babel's Forever was saying it was lye, but she looked into it.
So that's their base product is the clay, and then everything else is off that.
And it says it on there. It lists clay as an ingredient. I didn't know that clay. I don't know a lot about a lot of things. That's what I know for sure. That's what I know for sure.
My
that I don't know. I love that soap. It's awesome. And I love that now I can promote it and talk about it and actually benefit from it. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like having our first sponsor. First step towards a sponsor. Most sponsors wouldn't take us on, but Squatch also has a disclaimer on their site that they're not responsible for anything their affiliates say. So I don't think we'll get in trouble.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because that would be a deal breaker, at least for talking about them. I'm not gonna restrict what we talk about.
We can still talk about lizard people.
Yeah, I got to be able to talk about them. I want to get David Icke on the main show.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been reaching out to him.
have you?
I think he'd be fun.
That's the only way to do it.
He'd be a good guest. Reaching out to bigger names. Why not? I've been seeing a lot of people get some names.
Oh,
What?
look what Dana just said. I seen it, dude. The people were falling off it and shit,
Yes.
like 500 feet in the air.
They were grabbing onto it
Ugh.
as it was taking off. That's true, what she says there. I saw that this morning. I almost put one of the links up to show it, a news link about it. And there's footage of him in the air.
Damn.
What do you got going on today?
I gotta go to work.
Damn it.
Bullshit.
Why do you have to work on my only day off?
Why do I gotta work, period? You know?
Yeah, we all do. You know what I don't like is they still have me on 6 days a week, but they got my hours. They keep cutting me every day because they hired all these new people. So I'm still working every damn day, but I'm not getting any overtime.
Well, I think I'm gonna be a big
I don't like
proponent of
that.
UBI.
I'm not cool with that. I'm thinking about getting that long COVID disability. That's what I got my eye on. And then working part-time.
You're reading my mind because I was just saying, you know what? I think I'm pro UBI.
They can't prove that I don't have long COVID.
True.
They can't.
True.
Because somebody at work was saying, they were like, how are you going to get that? I'm like, how are they going to prove I don't have it? All I got to say is I have it. They put it with Emergency Express to get you right through for that one. That's $750 a month, right? And then I can work part-time.
True. That would be awesome.
Work smarter, not harder, right? That's what my grandpa used to say. Smarter.
Yep.
Yeah. Work
Righty,
about 15,
tighty,
20
lefty,
hours
loosey.
a week instead of 40.
Right.
Me and you
righty,
both could
tighty,
be riding the
lefty,
gravy
loosey.
train on that UBI, that sweet UBI.
You know what my mentor has always told me, about working on things was hold the flashlight over here. Over here. No, over here. Fuck, I gotta do it myself. Give me that fucking thing.
I wondered when we were going to hear a cuss word. I was going to say your dad cussed a lot less than mine.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, that's yeah.
No.
That's a lot more peppered conversation. I appreciate you watching your mouth then.
A lot of pepper in these conversations.
They say that's a sign of intelligence, though, if you want to trust the science.
Ooh, that and
Cursing.
heavy metal music.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Heavy metal music and swearing. Those are huge identifiers.
I like both of those things. And I'm messy. I have a lot of traits of genius in me. Just
a lot
saying.
of traits.
A lot of them. Shawn says he clicked the link and it's good. Many soaps, different types, all kinds. It's an official Dr. Squatch link. I shit you not. It's from them. They sent them to me. But
It's good soap, man.
I don't like the way they look is all. If I post them on social media, they look like a post, like I showed you. But they're real links. I just haven't been sharing them because of the way they look.
Man, you got the squirrel hid pretty good today.
You didn't find him? Other people did. Lolly found him early. He's there.
Oh.
You found him?
I found him. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Peeking.
He is. Today's peeking.
Peeking up.
For those of you watching, there's a hidden squirrel. And sometimes I don't remember to move him, but I moved him today. But yeah, I was going to hang out with my son, but I got a message during the show that he's not going to be able to do it today. So I got to cut some grass, and then I got to plan tonight's show. It's motivation night on the show tonight.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It's a motivation night.
I usually try to make a motivational speech video for those. I don't know what to. I think I'm playing with the format on that one a little. What I actually do. I don't know what to do though. It's hard to find good news stories to cover in a positive way.
Yeah.
I want positivity to be the center of it, but I don't know.
puppies and kittens videos.
Yeah. Yeah. That video of the catnip, that's good stuff. That's positive.
That's good stuff.
I like it. But no more prepper stuff. We're reaching out to some preppers. Like Joan
Yeah.
reached out to the Alaskan prepper. I've never heard of him. I shouldn't say that, but he apparently has a large following. Preppers, though, people like that.
We should start getting off the wall guests that people, you know, don't really think of. You know what I'm saying? Like preppers and shit, and
Yeah, that
even
would
you know
be
what I'm
cool.
saying? Like you just said, you know, the Alaskan preppers, somebody that's already got a following, but
Mhm.
it's somebody that we're not affiliated with.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm trying to reach out like that. And Joan's been helping me with that. So that's
That's
cool.
awesome. You know, and they either ignore you or say no or yes. I mean, that's it.
Right. That's the worst they can say is no. Just like Dr. Squatch. We reached out there too. That was Joan's idea. And they said yes. That's the worst they can say is no. You're right. So that's
Yeah.
what I got to do. And I got to probably cut the grass. I don't know if I said that.
They're like, no, and we're kicking you off the internet for 10 days for asking.
I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but we got a strike on YouTube again for medical misinformation. 7-day strike. That's why we're on the old channel right now.
Hmm.
From the clip show on Saturday night, not even from an actual feed.
Wow.
So the actual stream, whatever that clip was from, they didn't catch it then, but they caught it on the clip show.
Or did they?
Yeah. Sometimes I think maybe they have a human moderator that catches it because that was our first strike there. But I've never uploaded an original video to that channel. Just live streams. That's it.
I think it's all fucking racket, man.
Well, the numbers
You know?
I think are fake. Babe was just trying to get me to stop looking at the stats.
Yeah, the numbers are definitely fake.
Yeah. There's a lot of proof to that too. Like Shawn was talking about, he was on a feed the other day and there was 3 people there that he knew of commenting and it only said 1 on the screen. I see that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's that time again. I hate that it is because it's a whole week before we get to do this again. But
that's all, folks.
all right, we got to wrap up. But in about an hour, this will be up on Podbean and anywhere you get a podcast, and check that out. The podcast will support that. Pornhub too. I'm reaching out to them. I haven't been approved yet. Them in iTunes. I can't figure out.
Pornhub. That's probably going to be our biggest.
That would be our breakout site.
Our audience.
We would do very well there.
Yes.
The eye candy that you bring to the show, we would do amazing on Pornhub.
I was just thinking, you know, people on Pornhub are probably more conspiracy.
There you go, and you need something to watch after.
Right.
You know, while you wait out the guilt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Plus the name of the show. I mean, that kind of, you know, that
We
goes
fit
well.
in really well.
It will.
I'm gonna have Joan reach out. All right, man. I'll see you next Tuesday.
All right.
You guys have a good day.